This video looks at ways to create models so that we can use pattern component at the assembly level to save time adding and constraining components. So to start with, we'll zoom in down here on the end and we'll take a look. We have several things we want to add in. So we have this bolt, the washer and bolt here, and this roller that we need to pattern down the conveyor channel. We have this bolt and washer that would be going to a stand along the conveyor channel. And then we have a loop clamp here that'll be holding this wire routing in place. So let's start with this washer and this bolt, and I'm going to use the radial menu to pattern component. It's also in the assembly ribbon tab. And notice it automatically picks up all those locations. That bolt's constrained to a hole, and so it goes to everywhere that hole is down this ramp and the whole way. So while we're here, we might as well, to this pattern, add this roller because we need that at all those locations too. So I'll select that and then I'll just middle mouse to OK. So that's our first set of hardware and rollers. Now we'll do this washer and bolt, same thing. I'll do pattern component. And notice it didn't automatically recognize that it was in a pattern because this bolt and washer are constrained to a datum axis that isn't patterned with the slot. So in this case, we'll just select the slot feature and notice it's the slot pattern. So we'll select that. And then for the base instance handle, we'll select the first one here. And notice it goes to all those positions. And when it's going down on this angled section, it's rotating the bolt so that it stays flush to the face. So we'll middle mouse to OK that. And then the final one here is our loop clamp. Do the same thing, pattern component. And we'll select this whole pattern here. And over here, we'll select this instance for our base instance right there. And so if we look down through here, it's looking good so far. But notice when we get to this angle that our clamps aren't rotating with the wire. They're staying in the same orientation. So that's not working how we want. So instead of that, for our pattern, we can select something else. So I'm going to cancel out of that for now. And temporarily, I'm going to replace the reference set to entire part for this channel. And notice we have some coordinate systems here in the center of this conveyor system here. So I'm going to pattern again. And instead of selecting the whole, I'm going to select this coordinate system pattern here. And our base instance handle is going to be that one. And then we'll middle mouse to OK. And notice with that coordinate system, these rotate with the coordinate systems that are patterned there. So they go where we want them to, and they're rotated the way we want them to be. And so I'm going to replace this with the model reference set again to get rid of the extra construction stuff. So from here, we want all this hardware, at least the washers and bolts, on the other side. So we could use the mirror assembly command. The trouble with that is we can choose reuse and reposition, but it's not associative. So if this conveyor got wider, or if the whole positions changed, they would be fixed in place. So we don't want to do that. So our other option is we went ahead and constrained sets of hardware to these initial positions. So all we have to do is we'll add those hardware stacks to the pattern that we already have. So I'm just going to add those to that pattern, and notice now we have all those. And then the pattern here, I'm going to edit it, double click to edit, and then just select this washer and this bolt. And so now we have all those as well, all in the same pattern. So it's symmetric across kind of the center of that conveyor. Other than the wiring harness, it's just on one side here. So now that we have that, that was really quick. If it would have taken us a long time to constrain all those individually, even using remembered constraints. But let's say we have some changes. So I'm going to make the skeleton the work part here. And I'm going to pull up expressions. And so let's change the roller width. We'll change that to 36. And let's do the roller pitch. We'll change, let's say our rollers are too far apart. So let's half that distance. We'll go to 5 inches apart. Say OK. And then now I'm going to make the displayed part the assembly. And so, or the work part, the assembly. So now we can see we have all our rollers are added just from that change. All the bolts are added. So we didn't have to go back in and add more bolts. It all happened automatically. And we made it wider, and notice the bolts over here moved where they should be. They stayed in the holes or the slots they're supposed to be in. And then let's just make one more change. So let's say we need more support for this wire instead of every, I think that's 10 inches. We want more than that. So I'm going to go back into our conveyor skeleton, and I'm going to edit the wire support pitch. We'll do 6 inches instead of 12. So we'll half that. And notice as soon as we do that, I'm going to make the work on the displayed part again. And all these loop clamps have been placed automatically. So we didn't have to go back, and the holes were added in as well for them to be in. So it's really quick to update once you have those in there. So the question is, how did we get that to work? So I'm driving this model off of a skeleton. So here's my skeleton. There's not much to it, but that's basically driving everything in this model. It doesn't have to be in a skeleton though. It could just be in the parts themselves. So I'm gonna hide that, and let me hide the datums. So yeah, what we did there, we'll just kind of walk down the list. Let me back it up a little bit to the first pattern. So we put it in our first hole here, and then we have this kind of conveyor profile line. So what we did was we patterned that hole, and the way we patterned it was along a path. So the path we selected was that feature, which is that sketch for the conveyor path. And so it just goes there, and the orientation is normal to path. Well, in this case, it doesn't matter, but since it's just a hole. So that was that pattern for the roller bolts. Then next, if we move on, we'll look at, so we did a slot here for our initial slot, and then we did a pattern for that as well. So in this case, for the pattern, we did a little bit different. We have points already in our skeleton that came in. They didn't have to be in the skeleton, but there's a pattern feature in the skeleton that is creating all these points where we need the stands to go. And so for it, we did a general pattern. And so we just selected our from point was here, and then our 2 point, we selected this whole series of points here from this there. So it's all those points. And then we chose for the orientation to follow the pattern, and we chose follow face. And for the faces, we just selected the faces of the channel there, and then the project direction is a long face normal. And so that's how we created the slots. And then the final one there is the coordinate system. So because of the loop clamps need an orientation and not just a pattern, we used a coordinate system for the initial, and then we patterned that coordinate system using a geometry pattern. We patterned it along this wire routing curve. So its orientation, again, is normal to path. So the coordinate systems rotate to stay normal to that path all along the path there. And so that's how the patterns are created, and the holes that go with them. And so now if we switch back over to conveyor assembly again, we'll make one more change just to show the final kind of thing. So let's say we edit our conveyor sketch, which is conveyor path here. And let's change this to 100 inches and change this, we'll do 20. And for this one, we'll do 60. So now if we made our conveyor longer, we'll hit finish there, and everything's updating. And then we'll make our assembly, our work part again. And notice all that stuff got it added in relatively quickly. We didn't have to go back and add more parts, anything like that. Notice here we have one bolt that is not on it's not planar. So this stand that's bolting here, that's not going to work. So what we can do in that case, we'll just show this little bonus, I guess, is we'll come to that pattern and I'll edit it. And what we can do is if we right click here, sorry, that's not our pattern. Our pattern's in our skeleton. That's my bad. So the pattern of the points in the skeleton, I'll go to that. It's this pattern here. I'll edit that. And notice here's an instance point. So I'm just going to say right click it and do clock. And what that allows us to do is just to change that single instance. So I'm going to do a distance, and I'm going to specify this vector, which is the path there with the conveyors going on. And then let's shift it. Let's do 6 inches. Say OK. So now our new stand will be at this location, and we'll select OK. And notice our bolts move there. So that's a way to save a lot of time when you're adding hardware to, or any component really, to an assembly, is to leverage the patterns in the piece parts. And then once you've created the piece parts that way, you can leverage them at the assembly level and save a tremendous amount of time adding in hardware and other components.